Prices are once again on the way up. CoreLogic's Tim Lawless is concerned that little has been done to prevent the housing affordability problem from getting worse.
This really needs to be looked at seriously. Ideally, we shouldn't have to rely on lower housing prices to improve housing affordability because there's so many negative economic implications from lower household wealth. And we are now seeing housing prices rising fairly broadly, mostly in Sydney and Melbourne, but also we've seen values start to tick higher in some of the smaller cities. That suggests to me that we've probably seen the best of the affordability improvements, and we now need to be looking at longer-term strategies to actually fix this ongoing issue.
21-year-old twins, Lockie and Angus, live in a share house on Sydney's North Shore. Originally from Tamworth in regional New South Wales, the brothers moved to the Big Smoke to set up their future careers. Someday, they hope to start their own families. But in the meantime, they are scrimping and saving to get into the ultra-competitive Sydney market.
Well, I suppose I just want to set up my family and kind of have the upbringing that I had as well. I just come from a very loving family, and yeah, I suppose the key message is I just want to invest while I'm young, so I'm not worrying. When I do have a family and have kids, I'm not worrying about money or kind of issues like that.
The New South Wales state budget in 2017 included a housing affordability package, which Treasurer Dominic Perrottet says has been highly successful.
Yeah, I think affordability is a significant challenge here in our state and other states like Victoria. We've cut stamp duty considerably to help first home buyers come back into the market, and we have seen that. Close to 70,000 first home buyers over the last 2 years have taken up our packages.
For millennials on a shoestring budget, it's a saving you can't ignore. But in the broader market, Tim Lawless says the discounts have little impact on the problem.
It doesn't address the underlying issues around housing affordability. It really highlights, well, first of all, stamp duty is a massive barrier. Removing it has seen a real surge of first home buyers coming back into the market. But I think more realistically, we need to be looking at other measures in the marketplace to improve housing affordability.
If those programs are working, we will keep them going.
CoreLogic has called these concessions a band-aid solution. They're calling for the complete axing of stamp duty in favour for a more broad-based land tax, such as in the ACT. Economists think it's the right thing to do, so why not in New South Wales?
Well, I agree with the economists in the sense that stamp duty is an impediment to transfer of property. It is a very inefficient tax. It hinders economic growth. It's politically unpopular, but it's also provides a substantial contribution to our revenues here in our state. But at the same time, we're always open to looking at better ways of doing things.
After price, access to public transport and infrastructure are big factors for people looking to buy a home. Compared to Tamworth, property prices in Sydney are much more expensive.
It is a bit of a shock. Like the prices obviously reflect what's around, and obviously back home in a small country town, the infrastructure is not as strong and the opportunities there aren't as strong.
And so what areas of Sydney are you looking at getting into?
Basically anywhere in North Sydney, just close to transport, close to shops, infrastructure.
It's really clear that Australians have a requirement and a desire for better public transport, better transport infrastructure.
And our Housing Affordability Fund has been very successful in making sure we're investing in infrastructure and opening up areas of land. But at the same time, we have to build the infrastructure around it.
The other big hurdle for new buyers is access to finance, with the banks cracking down on new lending after pressure from the Hayne Royal Commission. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg is pressuring the banks in the other direction, calling for them to consider the aspirations of everyday Australians.
There's a responsibility on the lender and there's a responsibility on the borrower, and I think the Federal Treasurer's comments are spot on in that space, that there needs to be some common sense.
The big goal for Lockie and Angus is that dreaded deposit, which they're still saving for 3 years later.
Because, 3 years hard time of your life, I'm still healthy, still eating well, but it's just about getting that deposit, putting it on, and then you can worry about everything else after that. So,
hard slog then.
Yeah, it's good, but I think the older you get, you kind of see the value in your life. If you're not using your assets or your capital to make someone else happy in the future, you sort of, you don't feel too valued in your life. So obviously I want to give my family the best opportunity that I got, and I want to give them a bit more than what I got as well.